Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to my channel. My name is Paul, the Canadian Snowman, here once again with some more Ottoman history, Ottoman wars, I guess they're called. This time we're on the fall of Constantinople, 1453. And so, yeah, definitely gonna check that out and see what it's all about, from like Ottomans' point of view and all that stuff. Uh, we just did the Ottomans, the Sultan versus Timur. I forget, I forget his name. The Ottomans lost, but I think like kind of everyone kind of lost in the end because the Sultan died in captivity, but then Timur guy he died like I think it was a couple years later. And so right now it seems like both sides are kind of like in a rebuilding stage, kind of thing. Well, I guess that was a long time ago, so this is a different time period, I guess. I keep thinking that it's like I'm following one person and it's going like from year to year kind of thing, like we do with like Caesar kind of thing. But this is not. It's just the Ottoman history. We're not really not following anyone in particular, just like this the Ottomans. So yeah, we're gonna jump in, check this out, and follow. Constantinople. I mean, is that like like the biggest names of places when it comes to wars in history? It's got to be one of the top places, right? That gets brought up. But anyways, guys, hit that like and subscribe button below. If you're first time here, I do a lot of these kind of types of videos. A lot of different wars. Do a lot of geography videos. So definitely check those out. This is like the fourth or fifth video I've done on the Ottomans, so definitely check those videos out. And yeah, we're gonna jump into this. Hope you guys are having an amazing day. I do my drink. Oh well, I guess I'll go with a dry throat. Anyways, yep, let's do it. Never mind. I'm gonna get my drink.
The Ottoman Empire attempted to besiege Constantinople and end the Byzantine Empire on a half-dozen occasions, but these sieges were interrupted by the Crusades, civil wars, rebellions, and the invasion of Timur. However, by the middle of the 15th century, the Ottomans consolidated their territory and finally entered a period of internal stability. The next siege of Constantinople was imminent. In 1444, Sultan Murad II defeated the European Crusaders at the Battle of Varna. The King of Poland and Hungary, Władysław, was killed during the battle, and that plunged the most powerful states in Central Europe into a crisis. Still, the Ottomans faced resistance from the Albanian Lord Skanderbeg and the Voivoda of Transylvania, John Hunyadi. The latter sent numerous letters to the Pope and the kings of Europe, calling them to another crusade, but since no one was willing, his activity was limited to raiding into Ottoman territory. As Skanderbeg was previously an Ottoman vassal, Murad sent 3 punitive expeditions against him, but all 3 armies were ambushed and defeated by the outnumbered Albanian forces. Meanwhile, the Sultan was preoccupied with minor rebellions within the empire and a campaign against the Despotate of Morea in 1446. During the campaign in Greece, Murad forced the ruler of Morea and future Byzantine Emperor Constantine XI to become his vassal and pay tribute. It was time to attack Skanderbeg, and Murad won a minor victory at the Battle of Svetigrad in 1448. But chasing the guerrilla force under Skanderbeg was impossible, and after setting a few garrisons along the frontier, Murad returned to Edirne. Meanwhile, Hunyadi was preparing another.
I'm sorry, I had to pause because I've done Vlad the Impaler, and I believe this is just before Vlad. Man, I could be way off here. I apologize if I am. This could be. I think this is right before Vlad the Impaler's kind of moment in history. Just geography here looks very similar here, kind of thing. But yeah, like this time we're on the Ottoman side. Before we were kind of against the Ottomans. So I don't know. I just think that it's kind of neat. I feel like things are kind of overlapping here. Are going to start overlapping. Anyways, yeah, and let's get back to it.
Meanwhile, Hunyadi was preparing another crusade. By September of 1448, he finally raised a 30,000-strong army and started a new campaign. He was hoping that the despot of Serbia, Đurađ Branković, would join him, but the latter was an Ottoman vassal and refused, so instead Serbian lands were raided. Murad knew about all this and started moving his army to prevent Skanderbeg and Hunyadi from joining forces. Subsequent events are not clear, but it seems that in October, Hunyadi moved to the field of Kosovo to wait for Skanderbeg. Some claim that the latter was blocked by Đurađ. Others think that the local Ottoman garrison slowed the Albanian force. But in any case, on the 17th of October, the Sultan and his 50,000 troops reached the site where the First Battle of Kosovo between Lazar and Murad I took place.
I was confused there for a second, like, hey, Kosovo, didn't we just do Kosovo? But obviously you can have more than one battle at a certain place, right? So I feel dumb. Anyways, yeah. Let's do it again.
First Battle of Kosovo between Lazar and Murad I took place.
No.
So let's say you have to read an incredibly long email from your boss that you have to finish before the big meeting.
On the first day of the ensuing battle, Hungarian, Polish, Wallachian and Moldovan forces attacked the Ottomans across the...
Yeah, this is like, yeah, definitely the time period of Aldi Pair. Like, all the, like, you know, these names are definitely very familiar, so... Cool beans.
Hungarian, Polish, Wallachian and Moldovan forces attacked the Ottomans across the front with their armoured troops, but despite early successes, were pushed back. Hunyadi attempted to use his light cavalry to attack the Ottoman flanks during the night, but the Ottoman light horsemen intercepted and repelled the Crusaders.
They were ready.
On the second day, Murad ordered his flanks to retreat, and that tricked Hunyadi. His troops attacked the Ottoman centre head-on, and were able to push the Ottoman light infantry back. However, the Janissaries stopped the Crusader advance near the Sultan's position. At this point, the Ottoman flanks returned to the battle and encircled Hunyadi's forces. The leader of the crusading army managed to retreat, but more than half of his troops were killed, while the Ottomans lost around 5,000 men.
Wow.
The Battle of Kosovo.
Okay, so that was they gave us, we get two battles in one here, basically, because they got Kosovo, and they seemed like they just flew through this battle. Ottomans definitely tricked them, and like that seemed like almost like a flawless victory right there, like this flawless plan. I mean, I guess they lost 5,000, but I guess, you know, in war you kind of have to make those sacrifices if you want to win. But yeah, Ottomans are a force not to be reckoned with, man. At least over here.
Sealed the fate of the Balkan people for the next few centuries. Skanderbeg continued his resistance, and a few more campaigns against him did not bring any tangible success. But the focus of the Ottomans, the road to Constantinople, was now open. When Murad II passed away, and his son Mehmed II came to power in 1451, his singular goal was to take the Byzantine capital.
Here we go.
Constantinople was not the city it once was. The total number of the population was now between 50 and 100,000, and vast swathes of land within the walls were empty and even used for farming. The Byzantine Emperor Constantine XI now controlled only a small territory along the coast and had to pay tribute to the Ottoman Sultan. Mehmed signed treaties with Venice, Genoa and Hungary to ensure that they were not going to attack him. A new rebellion by the Karamanids allowed...
I mean, yeah, that's just smart, period, because it seems like anytime you go after Constantinople or anything else, like when it comes to war, you attack one thing, the other people take advantage of that and take your land from the other side, or just attack you, period, because you already got a lot of your resources, you know, in place to take care of whatever you're taking care of at that moment. So definitely a smart idea to kind of get things all settled, you know, over here in the west, and then, yeah, go after your main prize over here.
Sure that they were not going to attack him. A new rebellion by the Karamanids allowed him to cross into Anatolia and consolidate his power in the region. Constantine XI was hoping to end the practice of paying tribute to the Sultan and threatened to support Mehmed's cousin Orhan in claiming the Ottoman throne. That gave Mehmed a reason to declare their previous treaty null and void. The Ottomans started preparing for war. In April of 1452, the Sultan gave orders to build a fortress called Rumelihizar on the northern end of the Bosphorus to prevent any ships from assisting Constantinople from the Black Sea. The fort was built by the end of August, and Constantine had no other choice but to start bringing his subjects into the city, storing up supplies, and sending pleas for help to the European states. Only a contingent of Venetian ships and around 1,000 mercenary soldiers led by Giovanni Giustiniani arrived to help, while most Christian monarchs ignored the pleas. The Ottomans had more than 100,000 warriors, 69 cannons, and 126 ships under the overall command of Mehmed II, against 7,000 professional Byzantine troops, among them 500 Ottomans of Prince Orhan, and a dozen or so cannons and 26 ships. More than 30,000 locals were pressed into service. The Byzantine and Italian ships were better than their counterparts, while their guns were outdated.
Pretty sure we've been over this. I totally forget, but pretty sure we've kind of been over this, in a different video, from a different angle, but I'm trying to remember it and I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure we have. But anyways, because there's so much history on Constantinople, you kind of forget, when they talk about it. Are you talking about that time that you think before? Because, there's so many different places in history when it includes, I don't know. Sorry if I'm confusing you guys.
And Italian ships were better than their counterparts, while their guns were outdated. One of the Ottoman guns was particularly big and would play an iconic role in the upcoming siege. Each section of the wall would be...
That's right, that was in the movie. That TV show. It's a movie or TV show. That giant gun. And then it ends up getting like a crack in it or something. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Iconic role in the upcoming siege. Each section of the wall would be commanded by one of the Italian commanders, with Giustiniani being the leader, while Constantine and his guard were in reserve in the Blacane Palace. The defenders repaired the walls, and a chain was set across the Golden Horn to prevent the Ottomans from attacking the walls from the sea. The vanguard of the Ottoman army arrived at the walls of Constantinople on April 1st, 1453, and began making camp the next day. The Sultan reached the city on the 5th of April and started preparing to besiege it. The giant Ottoman cannons were in place on the 6th and started blasting.
This place is like a dang fort, obviously, it's Constantinople, but I always obviously this ain't the first time I've seen this, but, seeing a war on Constantinople, but I always loved the chain thing. There's movies about this kind of stuff, and you have to basically guard this side almost just as much as the mainland over here. But I don't know, this is always fascinating. Well, this place is basically still standing, even though it's surrounded by the Ottomans, and I guess it could have fell a long time ago. They just agreed for it to be like a vassal, state, but. I'm sure the Ottomans probably could have took it down, a long time ago if they really wanted to. This, crap's hitting the fan right now, so they kind of have to
siege it. The giant Ottoman cannons were in place on the 6th and started blasting the Theodosian walls, but with little effect. The cannons were so massive they needed 3 hours to reload, and the Byzantines were able to repair the damage done to the walls. On the 7th, the Sultan ordered his light infantry and skirmishers to assault the walls, but the defenders easily repelled the Ottomans. Unfortunately for them, their biggest cannons were lost in the accident, and their smaller ones were not capable of doing much damage. The Byzantines attempted a few sallies on the 8th and 9th, but no positive results were achieved. The Ottomans started battering the city walls on the 11th, and this bombardment continued until the very end of the siege. On the 17th and the 18th, the Ottomans attempted night assaults, but the defenders held on. On the water, the Ottoman fleet was unable to penetrate the chain and move into the Golden Horn. On the contrary, a few Venetian ships arrived and joined the defenders on the 20th of April. The Sultan needed to employ a new strategy. He famously ordered his ships to be moved across land near the Genoese colony of Pera. The ships were then set to water in the Golden Horn behind the chain on April 28th. Constantine said,
yeah, that was definitely in a movie and all that stuff. That was badass. They had to do it like, undercover and everything, and the other side really didn't know anything about it till like the last second. That's awesome. So smart. That's just the work it would take to carry your ships around.
Horn behind the chain on April 28th. Constantine sent his fire ships to quickly get rid of this threat, but the defenders lost this battle. From now on, Constantine had to keep at least part of his troops on the northern wall, and that weakened his defences elsewhere.
Yep.
Some of the Byzantine cannons were moved into the area, but they failed to defend the Allied ships, which had to return to the harbours. Their crews joined the defence. On May 6th, Ottoman cannons managed to destroy the gates of St. Romanus, and during the night their forces almost breached the defences in the area, but Justiniani arrived and fended off the attackers. On the 11th, the Caligaria gate was damaged, and the Ottomans moved in towards the Blachernae palace, but the emperor was able to push them back. The Ottoman Sultan commanded an all-out assault on the 29th. A massive bombardment was followed by a light infantry assault, but despite numerical advantage, they failed to take the walls from Justiniani.
Wow.
Mehmed's artillery destroyed part of the gates near the gates of St. Romanus, and 3,000 janissaries were sent to attack this position. The Byzantines were able to defend once again, but the janissaries took one of the towers and planted the Ottoman flag. At this point, Justiniani was heavily wounded and carried away from the battlements. This was a massive blow to the morale of the defenders, and when a few hundred janissaries entered the city near the gates of St. Romanus, the Byzantine defences fell. Citizens and defenders attempted to board the ships and leave the city. Sources say that the emperor and his last guards attempted a desperate counterattack near the gates of St. Romanus, but he was killed.
Ottomans win.
Thus, the last Roman emperor died alongside his empire. The fall of Constantinople.
That's right. That was the last Roman Empire, like really the last Roman Empire, like the Holy Roman Empire. Let's not even get into that. But yeah, that was the last remnants of the former, like, Rome, awesome Caesar. That was the last connection, to Caesar, and the golden age of Rome, and now he's gone, and it's sad. It's kind of sad, Now we're following the Ottomans, but that's kind of when you're at like the end of an era. I mean, like they held on for so long, and they're gone. Ottomans are like, no, it's our time. You're going down.
Last Roman emperor died alongside his empire. The fall of Constantinople was the event that marked the end of the medieval era, sparked the next phase of the Renaissance, started the ages of discovery and colonization.
So yeah, basically, because after the medieval era, the castles weren't as much of a thing because cannons, and like the gunpowder, like it ends up becoming like a different style of warfare where the castles they're not as secure as they used to be, so it's a transition. So always interesting, just to see the transfer over, cool stuff.
And also centuries of wars between the European powers and the Ottoman Empire, the wars that we are planning to cover in the future.
I don't know why the subtitles on. Did I turn subtitles on by accident? Because they were kind of distracting. Maybe if you guys like them on, I can put them on. But there you have it, guys. Constantinople falls, and then the Ottomans, man, they're ready. They're ready for their time, and they want to face, the European powers. And yeah, I guess we're gonna start getting to that. I'm definitely very interested in that. to see how that works. Obviously, the Ottomans. I know they're not just. There's a lot of episodes. That's a giveaway. But I also know just from doing a lot of videos, it's not like they're just gonna be gone in another 50 years or something. They're gonna be kicking butt for a long time to come. But anyways, guys, definitely very interesting. Like I said, I've seen that battle before in previous history videos. It's been a while, and like I do so many war videos that I get everything mixed up and forget, a lot of what kind of happens in those videos. So when these videos do come up, like the repeat of this one, I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. So sorry if I come across as not as I should know something, but I don't remember it. Apologize. But anyways, definitely very very cool. And Constantinople, it wasn't there's a lot of crap that went down before this battle, because I remember from previous videos, which is why it was so weak, and I wouldn't say easy to take over, but where it was just a matter of time before it fell, because there was a lot of like crap that happened before this battle actually happened, So definitely very interesting time in history. Definitely very interesting battle, and just this time it's just numbers just prevail. There's too many numbers, and they just couldn't hold on long enough, and they had no help from the Europeans. They had enough of crusade stuff, and they had their own issues going on over there in Europe, and they're like, nah, we're good. But anyways, guys, please hit that like and subscribe button below. I hope to catch you guys in future videos. You guys have an amazing day, whatever time of day it is for you, and catch you guys in future videos. Woo! Peace.